Hey everybody, welcome back to another Captain's Log. I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault here today. I want to thank you for joining me, and I hope you all had a great Christmas weekend and a Happy New Year coming up. Very fruitful 2023 for everyone involved. I got to spend a little time with some family this weekend, my girlfriend's family as well as my own. Both families get along very well. Christmas Eve I spent with her. We watched, of course, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which is just a fantastic and fun holiday film. But Sunday, Christmas Day, I was there when her two kids that live with her opened up their presents, but her third child, her oldest daughter, who lives off on the coast, was able to be there as well. And she's also a big-time gamer and a streamer and all that, so it's kind of cool. We have that in common. She brought her now fiance with her. His name is Anthony, and we got to spend a little bit of time together, just goofing around while we were waiting to head to my folks' house, and let him try out Callisto Protocol. He had expressed interest in it, and he told me that his father played the game. His father's a couple years older than me, I think 5 years older than me. But he was telling me how his dad liked Dead Space back in the day, and what a fun game that was, and how when he was young he saw his dad playing it and stuff. And so it was kind of a neat moment there. But before we go into that, also her youngest child, he's 11, enjoys games like he's a big Pokemon fan. He got Pokemon Violet for Christmas. So it was kind of neat, and it got me to thinking about these different generations of gamers and how things have changed throughout history, the past 40, 50 years with home consoles and gaming. And not only that, but how I've changed personally. So I watched Anthony launch Callisto Protocol, and he immediately sets it for the hardest setting. And while the game is difficult and all that, he breezes through the first few rounds of combat that I struggled with on a regular setting, with just these reflexes of a guy in his 20s. And I was like, oh man, what I would give to have those reflexes back now. I'm still able to progress in a game like this, but yeah, on the hardest difficulty, would I still have the reflexes for it? I don't know. It's tough to say. I probably could do it, but it would be a real slog. Elden Ring taught me that it's tough. It's tough. I don't have the eyes I used to have. I don't have the speed I used to have now. By no means am I a decrepit old man that can't do anything, but still watching him play, I was like, wow, that's something else, So I don't know how many of you, what your age range is and all that, but if you're young, if you're in your 20s, if you're in your 30s, I know about a quarter of my viewers are in their 20s to 30s. God, I enjoy these years, man. Enjoy them, because as you get older, things get tougher, Now, puzzle-wise and all that, I think I'm smarter and sharper than I ever was, and I'm able to figure out things real quick and catch on to little nuances in games, like, okay, there's going to be something over here, or this is going to happen, or that's going to happen. And that's wisdom which comes with age, and playing with these games for so many years, you kind of learn how games are made and what developers do and the little tricks and things they put in there. So it becomes something that you start to recognize and understand and see almost before it happens, But I will never, ever have the reflexes that he has back again. And that kind of gave me a moment of where I, kind of thought about even my own mortality at this point. I'm like, my God, at the age of 50 and at the rate the games come out, how much longer do I have that I'm going to be able to enjoy this at any level? Do I have 10 years? Am I going to be able to do it into my 60s? Am I going to be able to do it into my 70s? Am I going to be so blind, and am I going to get the arthritis and I can't hold the controller properly? And not only that, but how many more iterations of games are going to come out in that time? These aren't like TV shows that they'll put out a season every year, or movies that they'll put out a sequel every year to 2 years. These games sometimes will take 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, Duke Nukem Forever years. There's just so much time and energy that goes into these games that it's kind of kind of crazy to think that way. Now, certain studios produce stuff annually. You'll see a new um, COD every year. You'll see new Assassin's Creeds pretty much annually or every 2 years. It might not be, but these studios have multiple locations working on multiple IPs at the same time, or they'll get other studios to work on stuff. I get it. If you look at Bethesda and Fallout, we've had one, two, three, four, five Fallout games since the original. One of them done by Obsidian Studios, but it takes quite some time for a new Fallout game to come out. A new Elder Scrolls. It's been 11 years since Skyrim, right? 11 years. That's a long time. If it's going to be, even if it comes out in 2023, I'll be 53, right? I'm going to be 64 when Elder Scrolls 7 comes out. Holy cow. And, so I may never see 8 or 9. I definitely won't see 10 or 11, unless somehow we beat old age and mortality in that time. And it's kind of a sobering thought. And I don't know. What are your thoughts down below? What age range are you in? And how long have you been gaming? I've been doing it since I was 10 years old. So for 42 years, I've been enjoying this medium. And it's kind of neat to sit there with someone who is 30 years younger than me, 40 years younger than me, and enjoy the same thing. Now, our taste in games may not always be the same, especially with the 11-year-old. He's young, and he still likes these games that are geared for the kids. But at 11, he's on the cusp of changing now. In another 2 years, by the time he hits 12, 13, he's going to want to start going into these heavier games, these these crazier, wilder games, these scarier games, the shooting and all that. I mean, even now, I had him play Doom one day, and he had a blast with that. And listening to him yell, "Oh, you want some? You want some?" When he had the chainsaw and was sawing demons in half, just cracked me up. His mom was dying. We were both laughing. He played Little Dying Light 2 and had fun with that, just goofing around. And it was, it's a cool experience. And I hope I can, in any way, shape, or form, share some of what I've gone through and what I've seen develop through the years and how it's affected me. I think gaming's not what it used to be. Gaming, like the original, I was around for the original microtransaction, and you know what that is? People cry about microtransactions these days, myself included. They get to be annoying, that's for sure. But the original microtransaction was, running around the house, gathering up quarters and filling your pocket with quarters to go buy tokens at the arcade, and feeding in quarter after quarter or token after token into Mortal Kombat or Pac-Man or Space Invaders or whatever to get the highest score you could get. And that's what I consider the original microtransaction. It was only a quarter at a time, but my God, you could burn through $10 in a day, easy. At a quarter a shot. Especially, if you got really, really competitive, it got just to be utterly insane. And that's funny. If you can relate to this at all, subscribe to the channel. I'd love to talk with more gamers that are a little bit older, a little bit more mature, however you want to put it, and get your feelings. How long have you been gaming? Did you start as a kid? Did you start at like my girlfriend's son's age at 10, 11? I mean, he's been gaming for a couple years now. It's something that he really loves. He's got his Switch. I gave him a PlayStation 4 Pro. He's got a little computer he plays on, his phone, whatever. The kid is constantly enjoying that, and he's a smart kid. And I think these kind of games, they help you with that. They help you think. They help you solve problems. They help you figure out situations, puzzles. They help you with your reflexes and your hand-eye coordination and that sort of thing. I had a teacher back when I was in junior high school that, back then video games are really, it's bad. It's just rotting kids' brains, And this teacher would tell us, he goes, "I approve of it, man." He goes, "I think it's great for kids. It's definitely good for hand-eye coordination." Back then there wasn't a lot of the puzzle solving so much in the very early 80s, and it wasn't a thinking game so much. You just got up there and you shot down Space Invaders, and each time you cleared a board, it got faster and faster and faster. That's how games used to be. Pac-Man, Asteroids, all that, Centipede. It was basically the same repetitious thing over and over that only got faster. Now, of course, PCs gave us some text-based games that were more thinking games. Games like I think it was The Legend of Zorg or Zork, Z-O-R-K, Zork 2, something like that. Those were like the first text-based role-playing games that I can remember playing, and they were based out of DOS. You know, it was just insane. And I remember playing games like, what was it? It still goes on till today as a multiplayer, massive multiplayer online game. The King Britain and all that. It'll come to me, but it was like that fantasy adventure game with little castles, and you wander around, you try to get to the next area, you go into a cave, you fight random creatures, you saw creatures on the water, you got a boat and all that. I remember the original Final Fantasies. I remember Donkey Kong, and that was the first time Mario appeared. Who would have thought that little Mario there in that Donkey Kong game would go on to be the face of not only a franchise, but of an entire gaming system for Nintendo. That is definitely the face. I mean, yeah, they've got Zelda and other stuff, other properties that help define them, but it was Mario that put Nintendo on the map, and you can't deny that. And it's just it's amazing to see how it's changed throughout the years. So, I want to thank the kids for joining me. It was great. Even my wife's middle daughter loves playing like The Sims. She's got The Sims 4. She's got her own little setup on there, and she goes in and builds her house up and all that. She's played through Stray. I think she beat it, or she's very close, but she played through that. And even got my girlfriend in on it a little bit. She gamed when she was a kid, and her sister and brother are both gamers, which is kind of cool. She gamed as a kid, but not as an adult. So she's kind of getting back into it and enjoying it. I'm trying to find her stuff that appeals to her. She's not going to go in and dump 100 hours into Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but she recently went through and played What Remains of Edith Finch in a night, and she's almost got the platinum. She's going for her first platinum, so I'm proud of that. That's so cool. It's really, really cool. So being able to share this passion is great. My own parents are supporting me greatly in this as I set up a computer to move forward in 2023. My brother-in-law's building it for me, and I'm setting up some social media accounts and all that fun stuff. And got the full support of everyone in the family, and you guys as a community. It's just absolutely priceless having you. I appreciate every one of you that subs to the channel, watches the video. I love the comments. The community is great. I have an amazing community. You guys are so supportive. Everybody wants to help each other out. You guys are funny. And, just keep it coming, because I love each and every one of you. You are the best, and you make it worthwhile. Sometimes it gets to be a little rough working full-time, maintaining a relationship, making movies on the side with my buddies, and then making sure that I've got daily content coming out, not just for one game, but usually multiple games or multiple versions of the same game at the same time. It's a lot of work. I don't think I've slept in a year, but we're coming up on the year anniversary. But I am not complaining, because it is very, very rewarding. So thank you all. I will see you next year in 2023 for our first Captain's Log of 2023, and hopefully we'll have some great updates. But a couple little quick things before we go. I saw that God of War announced that there will be an update in 2023. I believe it's in March. That will give us New Game Plus, and I think somewhere around the same time the game we're showing right now, Callisto Protocol, will be also offering a New Game Plus version of the game, which is cool. For those of you who don't know what New Game Plus is, it varies slightly from game to game, but usually what it entails is replaying the game from the beginning, but you retain stuff you acquired previously in your last playthrough. Now, sometimes it's everything, sometimes it's only some of the stuff. It really depends on the game. If certain items are integral to the story and the advancement of the story, you may or may not get them. It really depends, but it would be great to start God of War with a full set of Berserker armor, all the upgrades in my amulet, and all the runic attacks set up, and they're all maxed out, and everything is just so powerful to be able to rip through it. Because New Game Plus usually ramps up the difficulty as well to some degree. Now they'll give you difficulty levels still, but each one is ramped up. So yeah, and that's usually, again, not everyone is the same. So definitely looking forward to both of those new game pluses. I might do a run through of Callisto Protocol on the channel. I considered it. It's, like I said in my review, it's a great game. It's a lot of fun. It does have its issues with it, but playing through it recently and looking at some of the minor changes they made, it feels a little less wonky and a little better now. So I might give it another shot and do a playthrough on it and just, you know, document the entire playthrough, because it is kind of fun and there's a lot of craziness going on in this game. So we'll see about that. Hogwarts Legacy coming up early next year, but the main thing I'm going to focus on, and I think it's coming out toward the end of January or middle of January, is the Dead Space remake. This is a game that, again, I've mentioned it several times in the Captain's Log, so you guys know. We will definitely be featuring it on the channel, definitely be doing a walkthrough and taking a close look at things. And I plan on getting into more analytical videos on the God of War Ragnarok game. I've done a few so far. Those take a little more time usually than just regular old walkthrough videos, so they're not going to be a daily occurrence, but I'm going to try and get at least one out a week moving forward and work on my schedule a little bit to get things going. And last but not least, I will be doing some live streams here on YouTube starting in 2023. I do have a Twitch account, but I never really gained a lot of traction on that, and to be quite honest with you, building YouTube and Twitch simultaneously while doing everything else I'm doing is a lot of work, and I don't have the time to do it. If I'm doing Twitch, I'm taking away from time I could be making videos here on YouTube. But at least if I'm live streaming on YouTube, I already have you guys out there who can join in and comment and all that. And if it's the type of game that you can join me in, I'll always welcome anybody to come join me and do some co-op and have some fun like that. So thank you all. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. I have new content coming out daily, and you do not want to miss it. We got some big changes coming in 2023, and I'd like to see you all there. Until next time, I'm Captain Beefy as always, and I'm with the Game Vault. I'll see you next time. Peace.